We are going to learn about different ways of saying the word said and different ways of saying the word went. Who cares, you might say? I use said and went all the time. Why would we need to learn different ways of saying said and went? Well, it's really important because if you are a good writer, use different ways of using creative words, don't they? They use fun, dynamic, wonderful words. They just don't repeat the same word over and over again. So I'm going to help you be good writers. Also, if we learn to use different words for the word said and went, you guys are going to be good talkers, aren't you? Yeah, because you don't want to say the same boring word over and over and over again. How many of you guys know this book? Did you guys know the movie was on TV last night?
Yes.
Yeah. And we don't have to talk about the movie, but it is one of my favorite authors, and this is Dr. Seuss. Dr. Seuss uses phenomenal words. He uses creative words. He uses exceptional words in place of boring words. And I'm going to open this book, and I've got some things that I've typed up on, I took excerpts, or I took how Dr. Seuss wrote his story, and we're going to compare it to a different way, kind of a boring way. And I want you guys to figure out which one sounds better, which one as an author or a speaker sounds better. All right, so this is one of the quotes in the Dr. Seuss book. I'm going to read them twice. I'm going to read the top one, and then I'm going to read the bottom one. Your job today is to figure out which one sounds better, if you are a writer or a speaker. The first one says, "And they're hanging their stockings," he snarled with a sneer. Or, "And they're hanging their stockings," he said. Which one do you think sounds better? I want one clap if you like the top way, 2 claps if you like the bottom way. Absolutely! I love the top one too. And did you know what? That was Dr. Seuss's writing. What word stood out to you that gave it an interesting flavor in writing? Darren. Oops. What word stood out to you? Well, hanging is in both of the sentences, isn't it? What's a word that stood out to you? Snarled and sneer. Those were 2 creative words. He could have just said, he said, but he used interesting words instead of the word said. Let's try another. Two sentences, the same sentence, but one of them is Dr. Seuss and one of them is a boring way. Let's see if you guys can figure out which one sounds better. Then he growled, "I must find some way to stop Christmas from coming." Or, then he said, "I must stop some way from Christmas from coming." Which one sounds better? 1 clap if you like the top, 2 claps if you like the bottom. 1 clap. Yes. I know I missed my N in the bottom sentence. What word stood out? Jason.
He growled.
He growled. So if I was reading that, I would want to get my growly voice on, wouldn't I? It tells me more of how he wanted that story written. Awesome job. Let's try another. Then he slithered and slunk with a smile most unpleasant around the whole room and took every present. Then he went with a smile most unpleasant around the room and took every present. What words stood out to you? First of all, did you like the top one or the bottom one? One clap, two claps. I agree. What words stood out to you guys? My friend Isabella.
Slithered and
Slither and slunk. Can you just imagine him slithering and slunking as he's going along?
I've seen it. I've seen it.
You, as the reader, can paint a picture in your brain of his movement, can't you? Instead of just saying he went, it doesn't tell me much. But if he slithered and slunk, can you kind of get that in your brain of how he moved? Absolutely. All right. So we talked about two words. We talked about said, how we can use our words creatively, and we talked about how things move or how people go, and using those words creatively. We are going to do a very, very fun activity today. We are going to get in a large circle. Circle up. My friend Samuel, can you find a spot or snuggle over?
Here.
Yeah.
Or snuggle over.
Snuggle up. Oh, I could have said cozy up or snuggle up.
Yeah, that's
Fun way. Okay.
You can slither in.
Here's what we are going to do today. Mrs. Oros talked about being respectful. This is a very fun activity. Very fun. I need your bottoms on the outside of the carpet at all times. We are going to go 3 by 3. So 3 friends are going to come up. They are going to reach inside my bag. I have like a Grinch sack here. You're going to grab, are we okay? We're good? Each of you are going to grab 1 balloon. You are going to go to the middle of the circle and you are going to pop your balloon. You're going to pop it under your foot. You're going to pop it under your armpit. You're going to sit on it. You can pop it any way you want, just as long as you don't put it in your mouth. For those of you that are around the circle, and if you do not like the popping sound, my suggestion is to cover your ears. It's not a loud pop because they're kind of small balloons. Your job as a spectator, if you are not popping a balloon, is to keep your hands to yourself. We are not picking up the balloon parts off the carpet yet. I know they're really fun out there, but we're going to keep our hands to ourselves and not play with the broken balloon. Capiche? If you are going to play with the balloon, I'm going to have you sit back at your table because that tells me you can't keep your hands to yourself. At the end, we will pick up the balloons, okay? Inside each of the little balloons is a tiny little piece of paper. You're going to find that little tiny white piece of paper and you're going to open it up. Inside that little piece of paper is going to give you another word that means the same thing as to go. Remember how he slithered? That was movement. How he went. You guys are going to then go in the middle of the circle and act it out. No words. You're going to act it out. Then the rest of your friends, the spectators, are going to try to guess what your movement was. You get to call on 3 friends. If by the end of 3 friends they don't get it, then you're going to give your word. Some of these words you might not know what the action looks like. Then we're going to talk about it as a group. So you might have the word slunk. I'm not quite sure what slunk means. But if I pulled that word out and I'm not sure, then I would just say, I'm not sure. And then we'll talk about it as a group. If you need help reading your word, just come over to me and I'll whisper in your ear. Maybe that will help you. You're going to grab a balloon.
Fine.
And they're going to pop it. Your job is to help them find that little piece of paper because it might go flying. 3 friends pop. However you want.
Hit the top though.
Oh,
Hit it in your mouth. No.
Okay, Emilio, and, yep, pop, my friend, pop, pop. All right. Come on over here, once you open them up. These voices are up, and we're
Oh, those are tiny.
all right. My friend Emilio is going to act out his word for go or went. I wonder how he's going to go. You know what that word is? Yes, absolutely. Go in the middle of the room and don't use your words, just show the action. Call it a friend?
Climbing.
Yes, it is. He climbed. So instead of saying, instead of saying he went up the ladder, we could say he climbed up the ladder. That gives a better picture. You may sit down. My friend, do you know your word? You're going to be able to act it out? All right, here we go. Ooh. Call in a friend. She jumped. Very good. Instead of saying she went across the street, we could say she jumped across the street. Does that give you a different picture in your brain of how she moved? All right, my friend Hayden, are you going to be able to act this one out? All right, here we go, friends. Attention. Running. Okay. Calling another friend.
Jason. Running.
Well, I think that's what Sam just said, so we have to use a really good listening ear. Call in one more friend.
Lucas.
You were jogging.
Jogging. What was your word?
Dash.
Dash.
Oh.
So kind of like a run, but a little bit different. Maybe that was a little bit faster. Very good.
You could say